Hello everyone, welcome. This video is quite an important one, and I don't normally do this, or we at AntRC don't normally do this, but I'm pleading with you to please watch all the way through the video. There's a very good reason for this, because this video, in case you hadn't guessed, is about WPL trucks. And I think, like the title suggests, you need to watch this before you buy one. And if you've got one, I'd also like you to share your experiences with us. So I've got a bit of a script and some points to go through, which is unusual for me, but here we go. So I've had two ready to run WPL trucks. One of them was this bad boy. Andrew's fault. He said you should buy it. It looks really cool. And it does. It looks really, really cool. But the wheel, not here, this bit missing here, is a story to tell. It's rubbish, okay? Both ready to run trucks I've had from WPL have broken within the first 5 minutes. Now, they have their limitations, and that's not me running it, badly, harshly, whatever. It's running it on some grass in my garden that's freshly cut. Nothing strenuous, and yeah. Anyway, complete failure. So, what did I do? After Andrew bought his WPL C44 kit, I decided that I couldn't not have a kit, and I am skint at the moment as well, and I wanted something to build and something to fell. I haven't got the money to buy something more expensive, so there we go. So I got onto WPL, ordered the B14KM kit. Now, that is the normal kit that you get with metal parts in it. So metal axles, metal drive shaft, 2-speed gearbox, an upgraded version. And I thought, that's got to be good, right? Well, it's got to be better, surely. Anyway, I have two of them, and yeah, keep watching because it gets interesting. So when my kit arrived, the postman, Royal Mail, for those in the UK, standard delivery, he opened the door and he kind of giggled a little bit. And he handed me the box that this came in, and, well, handed it to me. It was squashed flat. It was like a sumo wrestler had sat on it, and then a professional footballer had absolutely hoofed it around the cargo bay in the plane. There were bits falling out of it. Not good. So, there was no manual as well, I'd like to add. So there's no manual. And in these kits, for those that haven't got them or had one, you get these little WPL bags. Now, like this one, it's literally the inside box of this box was squished flat apart. So was the main box it came in, kind of shipping box as well. And some of the bags were open as well. So bits had gone. What bits, I don't know. Didn't have a manual, so I couldn't check. So I got onto WPL straight away. And for those that don't know, they're in China and I'm in the UK. And so there's a bit of a time difference. So I emailed them, sent them a photograph, and they responded really quickly, to their credit. And I will say that their customer service is superb. So the person that responded was very apologetic and really, really shocked. And then we had a number of email exchanges, and they said, can you tell me what's missing? And I said, well, no, because I don't have a manual, so I've got no idea. And they said, right, well, we'll send you a replacement truck. It's like, fantastic. You don't get any better than that, do you? So that's why I have two. So brilliant. Now we get onto the build. Now this is where possibly a number of people may dislike this video, and that's fine. I want to get interest because I want people's views, and I want to fire things up in the comments as well. So if you've got people that like WPLs, send them this link because we can have a good old chat and a good old discussion. Now, my experience of building this, well, this was the first one. Now, the axles don't go together very well. This was just a bit of a nightmare, to be quite honest with you. The screws and bolts were easy to strip. It just did not fit very well. It was a bit of jiggery pokery. I mean, the axle pumpkin covers, both of them, they've got like little kind of protruding kind of locators, if you like, bobbly bits, call them bobbly bits. They did not line up on front or back with the holes that corresponded in the axle that they're supposed to go in. They did not line up. It wasn't a case of just taking the paint off because they're all painted. They didn't line up. They weren't even close. So I had to take them off. Lots of filing and everything else, which was an absolute pain. And then they went on, and then the screws went in, and it's all just a bit of fudging, you know? It's just... And then the screws, actually, for the front, for the steering arms here, 2 of the screws were missing, the longer screws, so I didn't have any screws that I could put in here. So I ended up putting lots of my own screws in, but that I had just, you know, lying around from months of building. When it was built and it was together, I managed to do that with, you know, using my own screws and cobbling bits and things like that. This 2-speed gearbox. So what happens with this 2-speed gearbox is it's got, like a lot of 2-speed gearboxes, you use a servo and you position the servo so it pushes the shaft in and it selects the crawler gear. So it's normally in normal gear, select the servo, it goes into crawler gear. So I drove it across the carpet with nothing on it, no body shell or anything. And I tried to kind of drive over something about that high. Perhaps actually, no, not that high. Probably about half that size. My daughter's Thomas train track in crawler gear. And there was that alarming crunching kind of noise when a pinion starts to strip on an RC model. Now, you'll know what I mean. It's not very pleasant. And it just munched low speed gear. So crawler gear is no more. Okay, so normal gear it is. So while I was doing that and thinking, oh God, I had this thing apart and it's just putting it back together, it's just a bit of a nightmare. You then find out that the body doesn't fit, and neither does the flatbed with the 2-speed gearbox. The body, the cab itself isn't so bad, right? It sits almost, but it's just the motor sits just a little bit too high. Okay, that can be remedied. But the flatbed, you can see that. There's no way. There is no way that's going to fit. Now, I checked before I bought this via email to customer services with WPL, and again, they were fantastic. They said, this kit, everything goes in it, everything fits, the KM kit. So that means, well, they said that, you know, there's 2-stage, because what I was interested in was the upgraded 2-stage gearbox. Yeah, everything fits and it goes together. Now, this is sold as a kit. It doesn't go together. It doesn't fit. Now, my second kit, it's exactly the same. But notice here, there are 2 kits that are the same kit, but one's got a silver chassis and one's got a black chassis. Go figure. I have no idea. Anyway, now I'm going to talk about money, because these kits from WPL are $79 US, which, you know, is that cheap? I suppose it is, really. And I have my mother's tone ringing in my ear, or her words, you get what you pay for. Because my dad used to repair everything with garden wire. Well, he still does, right? Mr. Bodge. Now, I've taken on the thinking of my mother and learnt that lesson, because women are always right, yeah? You get what you pay for. But there's an awkward side to that, which is where I want the discussion to start, and this review, if you like, of WPL. So sure, it's cheap, but who is this model aimed at, really? I would suspect that it's aimed at, well, who will buy it? It's a present for someone wanting to get into the hobby, maybe someone buying it for their child and they're going to build it together as a project, because RCs aren't cheap, right? And building an RC is can be quite a daunting prospect. Now, that's fine, but it needs to work and it needs to go together okay. Now, my experience, this kit's slightly better, but I had the screws and bolts that I wanted to use. I didn't use WPL's, I used my own. And I built one, and I was building the second one, so I was a little bit more prepared. But to be fair, this one went together better than the other one did. The axle pumpkins went on fine. They, you know, needed a bit of filing here and there, but they went on okay. Now, one thing I did have a problem with this second kit. It arrived intact. This is the box. It wasn't beaten. Everything was there. However, the drive shaft for this one, you may notice in this one, missing a drive shaft. Okay. That's because the metal drive shaft in this one, these little couplers here with a kind of like a spring-loaded ring around the edge, there's a pin that goes through to keep the drive shaft in place. Now, whoever had machined it on one of these in this kit, the hole for the pin wasn't there. She couldn't fit it. It was useless, absolutely useless. So I couldn't, had I have just had this kit, I wouldn't have been able to finish it. I wouldn't have been able to build it. So, as having the second one, I mean, one of these is free, right? But I had to take the drive shaft off because I couldn't finish the model. Now, you know, what's that all about? Why? I appreciate it's cheap, but if you're going to have it, it's cheap. It needs to work. So what use is it if you get the kit and it doesn't work? Now, fair enough, I'm in the UK, I've ordered it, use the risk you take. But the problem with that is customer service is good, but I'd have to explain by photograph, I'd have to wait however long to get it over. I don't think that's a good enough excuse. Now, there's been two kits here that have both had fairly significant problems, and especially as they're sold as a kit and the kit doesn't physically work. Now, I think what WPL do is they chuck in the metal parts, the upgraded parts, and, you know, for you to use, which is fine, but don't kind of sell it as a kit, if that makes sense. Put a disclaimer on it. Now, the manual isn't very good either because it doesn't really detail this kit properly, but you know, when I contacted WPL, they said, again, brilliantly, they said, oh, there's an online manual. Well, just print it and stick it in the box, you know, just little things like that. So this is why I'm probably going to get a slating, but that's what this hobby's about, right? And that's what discussion's about. And that's why I wanted everyone to watch this video, because I see a lot of videos of people saying these are great. And I think they are. I mean, this two-stage gearbox, when it runs, it's superb. It's beautiful. It's really smooth. It's such a cool little thing, and it moves really nicely as well. So WPL have done a really good job. Andrew's got a WPL C44 kit, which is better than this. You know, it's a more modern kit. He's just gone together really, I think a good bit better than this one, to be fair. So, you know, they are getting there. But this experience that I've had could ruin the hobby or feeling of a build for new people. Or if you bought this for a present where father and son or mother and son want to put this together, or daughter, you know, you get all excited and it doesn't go together. Or if you haven't got the experience. Now, I'm not a numpty completely. Maybe I am a little bit. But I've built a TRX4. Well, no. Excuse me. I've stripped my TRX4 completely, the whole thing, and put it back together. Cleaned it out. I've built an SCX-10-2 kit, and I've built my MC6, and I've taken those apart, stripped them down, put them back together. I am fairly competent with doing kits now, and this is probably one of the most fiddly I've done. Sure, because it's small, but fiddly in a way that it needed a lot of my experience from building other kits. I wouldn't necessarily say that this is a beginner's kit, which is quite frustrating because I think from the price of it, that's what it was probably aimed at. Could be wrong. Again, let's have a discussion about this in the comments and thrash it out and see what we think. And what are your experiences? Please, you know, tell me. You know, it is a shame. WPL, come on, please. I know it's cheap, but it should be rectified, and it needs to get that little bit better, in my opinion. Even if I think people would be willing to pay a bit more if there was a bit more kind of thought put into how the kit goes together. Again, I could have had two duff ones, right? But I'm not so sure that's the case. Again, comments, please, you know, speak to me about it. They do look cool. And the other benefit is they are awesome for weathering. Now, I'm practicing and getting into scale modelling weathering. Andrew, if you haven't watched our videos, is very good at it. Check some of those stuff out. But I'm playing with this and I'm really enjoying it. And it's a great thing to weather because it's a cheap kit. If you mess it up, it doesn't matter. And I've got some weathering paint and more brushes coming, so I'm really enjoying that. That's really good. And doing it on the bed as well. So, you know, it's got so much potential. It could be so good, and it could, this when I finish with it will look amazing, and it will run on our channel and we'll have some good fun. But getting there is been difficult, right, and frustrating. So should I buy a WPL kit? Well, this is where the negative stops. I think you should, yes, but you need to be prepared and you need to know what you're walking into, I think, and this is why you want to watch this video. You need to, I think, in my opinion, have a set of screws, you know, better ones, if you like, and get yourself some decent tools. Make sure you're prepared for a little bit of a battle, okay? And I think watch some videos of people putting them together. You know, manage your expectations. I'm trying to manage your expectations. You know, if you buy this, think, oh, it's going to go straight together like an STX10 kit, then it's not. Maybe some people will argue, well, why should it? Because that's where the money comes from. Again, I'll go back to the point of, if you've got a kit and it goes together, then it should go together and it should work. And, you know, I don't know whether this is just the overseas ones or what, but again, you know, quality control of different colour chassis and bits and pieces. Despite my issues, I do hope they continue to improve. I think they are a good company. The customer service is really good. The customer service is a lot better than some UK companies I've dealt with. Really is. So fair play. And I just think it needs some time and it needs some feedback and just a little bit of improvement, and it would make it such a much better product. You know, it would be more popular. I think, you know, it wouldn't put people off, and that's certainly not what I'm trying to do. So, you know, WPL, they're getting there. They're a good truck. Is it for beginners? Not quite so sure, which is a shame, really. You know, it may be. It depends how competent you are, I guess. And get one, have a look, have a play, maybe. But let's get this discussion going, guys, please. I want to know what you think, what your experiences are. Is this just me? I think, you know, have I got 2 Friday afternoon specials? Has WPL got something against me? I mean, the 2 ready... Whoops. Hey, look. The doors come off. Me and WPL don't get on. You know, my 2 ready to runs that broke. And I didn't use them excessively hard, I promise you. But maybe they've just... We don't get on, and we should part company. But I don't want to give up. I want to buy some more kits because they're cheap and they're good to fiddle around with. But please, folks, don't expect perfection straight away. I think that's what I need to say. So again, keep saying it. Comments. Let's get a discussion going. Let's see what you think. And yeah. Hey ho. So thanks for watching. I hope this has helped you. I hope this prepared you in some way. I'm happy to talk through any issues. If you're trying to build one and you want some assistance, no, not that I'm an expert, but things that I've done and bolts and bits and pieces that I've used to try and make it better, please ask those questions. And yeah, comments, please like and subscribe, and we'll catch you soon. Thanks as always for your support, and take care. Bye for now.